Providing such unprecedented support for self-employed people has been difficult to do in practice.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. I was hoping that you would be able to, I was hoping you'd be able to help me.
I know many self-employed people are struggling right now, so we've made sure that support is available.
You were a musician. Oh, you are. You're not were. Let's stay in the current tense. You are
at the moment. I mean, the guitar's there.
You had a job, and tell me what the job was and how you...
I did have a job, yes. I had a job.
One morning I called the Universal Credit Helpline 72 times without getting through once. And even just that, the strain that it has on your mental health is just horrible.
Hello from my living room. Sorry, this isn't ideal. Obviously, I am in quarantine like the rest of you. This is lockdown. Now, it is a technical challenge, not least when me, the producer, the camera person, we are all in separate homes. But that's how we make videos now in the age of Corona. Now, the coronavirus is not just a public health crisis. It's a social crisis as well. Of course, the government have introduced drastic measures, but there are big cracks. Self-employed people can't apply for that until later on in the year. And people who've already been laid off, also, for example, people who are newly self-employed, they're not eligible for those schemes. I want to talk to people now who all of a sudden have been plunged into crisis.
So this is a little snug area where
nice
my mum works.
Yeah.
So she does her work, she's a health visitor, so she's still working.
Oh, excellent.
And then our very messy kitchen.
That's not messy. Do you think that's messy? You had a job, and tell me what the job was and how you...
I did have a job, yes, I had a job. I'm a speech and language therapist. I'm technically self-employed. I am immune suppressed, so I got the 12-week text to say that you can't leave the house for 12 weeks. And so I decided I needed to self-isolate. And as part of my contract, I had to be on site and actually do my job.
How much has your income fallen by? What are we talking?
£2,500.
A month?
Yeah.
Gone. Wow.
It's tricky because I have a chronic illness anyway, so I think about my life as periods of time that I can work and periods of time that are going to be really good, and then times when my life, it kind of just falls apart. This feels really different because I'm not ill. I don't know, there's nothing wrong with me. I feel very capable of working.
You've been told to self-isolate for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going to be honest, this lockdown could go on for a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
Do you think you could afford to live on £94.25 for months?
No. No, definitely not.
On a kind of mental, emotional level, how are you coping? How are you doing? Are you sleeping all right? Do you have low moments?
I definitely do, and I think that when the government first announced, because I was really hopeful, all of the things were pointing to the fact that yes, this is going to be okay, we're going to be fine. I was thinking, okay, I will take a cut. And when that was released, I think it was last week, wasn't it, in the evening? I was devastated, and it is akin to like heartbreak and grief because it's like almost like a grief of what your life was.
If you had a 2-minute Skype call, Zoom call, whatever with Boris Johnson, what would you ask him for in this current crisis?
Empathy. To empathise with people who really can't deal with this, and also to think about how these measures are on top of however many years of austerity, 10 years of austerity, and the damage that that's done. We're not in a position to be able to do this, we're really not.
We've also changed the welfare system so that self-employed people can now access universal credit in full.
Be careful what part of me I put up to the screen here, haven't I? Right, going around the gaff. Let's take a look. Music gear, I think, in the background there for myself.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
And, well, everyone's got to have toilet roll, haven't they?
Yeah.
So, there we go. That's on there somewhere, I believe. There you go.
There it is.
Toilet roll.
You were a musician. Oh, you are. You're not were. Let's stay in the current tense. You are
at the moment. I mean, the guitar's there, but yeah, very much in the sort of past tense at the moment, I suppose. The idea is looking for looking for money, looking for work.
Roughly how much money, though, do you think this
I
month?
had bookings to the amount of about £2,400
Wow.
this month.
Do you have savings?
I don't have any savings, sadly, no. I really,
So, universal credit.
yes.
Can you apply for universal credit?
I've called up to find out if I'm able to apply for universal credit. I was hoping to cover until I could maybe find a job as a driver or something like that, or just stacking shelves or anything really.
Could you live on universal credit?
No.
How do you feel emotionally?
I've been holding it together. Help for Musicians, which is a Facebook site that posted that they had 5 million to give away in £500 grants to musicians that were struggling. I got the news of that on Friday night when I was checking to see how much over my overdraft I was, and they granted me £500, which means I will be able to get through the beginning of this month. And I just broke down and cried at that point.
If, for example, in 2 months' time, we're still in lockdown, mentally and emotionally, what are your worries about where you'll be at?
There are those that struggle with depression heavily. I have done previously in the past for the last couple of years. The last year has been great. It's been sunshine and rainbows, but the last 2 years weren't. If this had hit me 3 years ago, I don't know how I would have dealt with it, basically.
If you had Boris Johnson for 2 minutes on a Zoom call, what would you ask him?
I'd ask him if the money was there to follow or to pay out to any sector, that he's waiting until June or July to do so. First and foremost, how does he expect us to get to there? And second of all, if the money's there, why do we have to wait so long?
We will not be able to protect every single job or save every single business. But I am confident that the measures we have put in place will support millions of families, businesses, and self-employed people to get through this.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Now, I know you're staying anonymous, so we can't see you, but you can see me. Just tell me about the business you were running and then what happened.
I've been running a catering business for a few years now. Since the start of the kind of lockdown and people self-isolating, I had to kind of cancel bookings and self-isolate myself because I had a few quite vague symptoms that I thought might be COVID-19 related, might not, but I wanted to do the responsible thing.
But did you think to yourself, oh my word, this means I won't be able to do my job?
Yes, I did think that, but I thought at the time I might qualify for statutory sick pay. It was really kind of vague on the website, but your cat's just...
Oh yeah, sorry, my cat's intermittently just trying to get in on the action. Sorry about this. Hello, cat. This is Keir. Carry on. Sorry.
It's very gorgeous. Yes, I thought that I might qualify for statutory sick pay, but the other thing that we were being told as self-employed people is that we could apply for universal credit. So I thought I might be, to some degree, covered.
And what happened when you applied for universal credit?
Filled out a form, thought I'll phone up on Monday. I mean, the form took maybe 10 minutes to fill out, and then looking back at the damage it's done, it's really, it kind of leaves me feeling a bit like I've self-sabotaged myself.
When you say the damage that it caused, what do you mean?
Well, I didn't realise until I got hold of someone on the Monday that my tax credits, working and child tax credits, were immediately stopped from the day before my claim. So I'm now stuck on universal credits as long as I would have qualified for tax credits. And I'm actually will end up getting less on universal credits than I was getting before.
Wow.
Yeah. And there's no way back.
When you realised this, what went through your head?
I felt sick. I actually felt like I was going to pass out. I felt the blood draining from my face. There was just this feeling of desperation.
After that initial emotional shock, I mean, which I think anyone in that situation would feel utter horror, how have you been emotionally ever since?
I've suffered from depression since I was 17, and 3 years ago I was in a mental institute. I was suicidal, and since then I've kind of slowly been recovering, I guess, after everything that's happened. You know, I've, for the first time in 3 years, felt suicidal, felt emotionally just unstable. And it's just a really scary place to be in.
Have you felt you had the emotional support in this when you're going through that? You know, when that's going through your head?
Well, we're all in quarantine, so there's no one you can... I don't know, it feels like the NHS is obviously under incredible strain at the moment anyway, so it doesn't feel like there's anywhere, anywhere to go to kind of escape this situation. Yeah, it just feels like all that effort and everything I put into my business, and you know, it's just for nothing, really.
If you had the Prime Minister down the line now for 2 minutes, what would you ask him to do to help people like yourself in the circumstances you're in through no fault of your own?
Sure. I would ask him to give people who have been affected by COVID-19, who have followed the government's advice to claim universal credit without having all of the proper information there, a way back.
The welfare state has long been demonised as something for nothing, as overly generous, as for people who are scrounging to live a luxurious lifestyle at the expense of the rest of us. A lot of people who've heard all of that rhetoric for many years are about to collide with reality, that it's no such thing, and all of a sudden they have very little to live on.